Hey folks, everything new under the sun. A little comment on prepping and being ready for what is to come. Now, in prior videos, you know that I had gotten my amateur radio license, and this morning I was on a net, as we have weekly nets on amateur radio, just to test out our equipment, to chat with others in the hobby. And part of the reason I got my amateur radio license was so that I would have ability to communicate, not unrestricted. It's hard to have completely unrestricted speech because there are people listening, there are rules and guidelines surrounding it. Nonetheless, it allows you to talk over long distances and at least schedule a gathering, a meeting place over long distances. You can do that with other radios, FRS radios, Citizens Band radios, CB radios. You can do various things. Of course, you don't want to talk about anything sensitive over those radios as they are controlled. FRS is probably your best bet. It's not probably not being tracked immediately where you are, although anybody can listen in with an FRS radio. But you can schedule meetups to have real conversations. But you need to have a way to communicate in the last days between like-minded people, Christians with Christians, etc. A local, your neighbors have a way to communicate, even across the street in times of trouble. If something's coming down the pipe, have a way. You don't have to have it working right now, but if you have an extra FRS, when trouble comes, you can walk over there, hand it over to them, and say, "Look, I know the power's out. If you need anything, give me a call on the radio. I'll be around, and we can help each other." So just the ability to be able to provide communications when things go down. And, the more you're prepared prior to, the better. What I want to say related to that was having skills is very handy. Knowing how to do basic soldering of electric equipment is handy. It is minus 24 here where I am, and my antenna was frozen up or whatever. I don't know what the problem is, but I had to do some quick soldering on what's called a copper J-pole, a big 2-meter band antenna. Had to do some quick soldering to get it up and running. It doesn't take a lot of skill or knowledge necessarily. It requires some basic skill, some basic knowledge, and that's what you need: some basic skills, some basic knowledge to be able to fix something when you need to. When the grid goes down, when the internet goes down, you're not going to necessarily be able to search for anything. You kind of need to have the knowledge on hand in books, etc., printed out, or just in your head, and have things ready to go, because when trouble does come, you may not be able to get any resources or information on how to do something. You have to be your own MacGyver, as they say. So learn how to do basic things, soldering. Figure out how to find your own firewood, or how to come up with some fresh water via a filtering system, or create your own 12-volt solar-powered pump that you can stick down your well pipe if your well pump doesn't work. Different things. Learn how to do it yourself, because when times get hard, you're going to be on your own to do these sorts of things. Now, Mark of the Beast. I want to talk about Mark of the Beast a little bit. What is Mark of the Beast? What is it going to be used for? How will they track you? And is there an example in the world where, in terms of how they're going to track you, and if they're going to track you if you don't accept it? What are they going to do to the people who don't accept it? Well, this is my slide about economic collapse. And I believe significant economic trouble has to come prior to a world leader rising up and saying, "Look, I can fix this. Look, I can fix the war. Look, I can fix the pandemic. I can fix everything." And that will prompt everybody to, worship him and accept the world government, accept the world economic system, and whatever the new currency is. The Federal Reserve in the U.S. is there's news coming out, fresh news that they're looking at digital currency. So they're looking to switch to something. The whole world, Russia, China, they're looking to move away from the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. But I believe none of that will happen. I believe we're going to move to a world currency, a world government, and what is known in the Bible as a mark system, a mark of the beast. This is out of Revelation 13, verse 16 in red there. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. That pretty much covers all of us, doesn't it? Are you rich? Are you poor? Are you in the middle somewhere? Are you small? Are you great? It's going to hit everybody, free or bond, to receive a mark in their right hand. Look at that text, in their right hand. So the KJV says in, not on. So this, I don't believe it's a tattoo or something on the skin. I believe it's actually in your right hand or in your forehead. And so you receive this mark, and that no man may buy or sell. You won't be able to buy or sell anything unless you have the mark. Now, of course, many believe or relate it to the Vax Pass. Now, that's only limiting recreational things right now. Right now, you can still go into a grocery store, but it's an example of what the government can do to kind of limit what you can do in the economy. So no man can buy or sell, except save he that has the mark. If you have the mark, then you can buy or sell, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's wisdom: let him who hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. So it's a world system, it's a global system, and anywhere around the world, you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you have this. Now, there likely will be some small barter economies, but for the most part, you're not going to be able to do a lot. Just like with the Vax Pass, you're going to be prevented from doing things. And there's other, you can maybe work around it. You can have your own, if you can't go to a theater, maybe you can have your own movie night, with friends or something. But generally speaking, you won't be able to buy or sell. And this is something, and the question comes, what are they going to do to Christians? If Christians don't accept the mark, Christians will just create their own little, barter network. They'll just survive without it. If you can't buy or sell, you know what? If you can't buy or sell, maybe that means you won't have access to your bank account. You won't be able to pay your mortgage. Think of all the things that you need to do through the system, through the economic system, through the banking system, the bills you have to pay, the taxes you are required to pay to the government. You are not free in your country. You cannot live free anywhere, in North America that I'm aware of, without having to pay some taxes to somebody. If you want access to the internet, you're going to have to be paying a cell phone bill, even if you're in the middle of nowhere. So you're going to be paying someone for something if you want any access to the outside world. Now, maybe you can live in the hills or go in the mountains, but if you have a family, people, authorities are going to find you. They're going to find you if you're burning wood, if you're interacting, and those government agencies are already tracking you. This is an article from, if I can pull it up here. There we go. This is an article from Azure Hedge, and it is about the three-letter agencies, and probably more, I guess, 25 federal agencies in the U.S. Tracking employees with religious exemptions. If you go and they deploy the mark of the beast in the UK, and maybe there's going to be people who try and say, you know what, I have a religious exemption from this, because hands up, I believe this is the mark of the beast, and you have to worship the Antichrist to get this thing. But right now, even with the Vax Pass and such, if you have a religious exemption from getting the jab, there's people tracking you. Does that sound like Mark of the Beast, where no man can buy or sell? They're going to have to be able to track you. They're going to have to be able to know where you are at all times, and they're going to want to get those anti-Mark of the Beasters, right? Those anti-chips in your hands, whatever they may be, or in your forehead. They're going to go after those anti-people, those people who are against government and against all the good that the Mark of the Beast will bring the world, and they're going to want to track you down. And they're not going to let you have a bartering system, an off-grid, buy and sell situation out of the economy. Why? They're probably going to say it's a concern for public health. That's what I suspect. At least 25 agencies have implemented a system to track religious exemption requests. Do you have a religious exemption request? They know who you are and where you are, and they will put more pressure on you next time this comes around to do something. So they're tracking you. They know who exactly. Not only do they know who already has the vax pass and who already is jabbed, they know who isn't. Even where I am, once a week on the radio, they say, here's the number of people who have been vaccinated. Here's the number of people who are eligible for their third shot. Oh, and here is the number of people who haven't received any shots at all, and we implore you to come and get shots. They know exactly who you are if you haven't got the shot yet. This is across Canada. They know exactly who you are. They have your name, your health card. They have all the information about you, and they know exactly who you are if you haven't. The agencies include Departments of Justice, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Transportation, the Treasury, the Social Security Admission, and the Federal Election Commission. You'll be barred from voting. You'll be barred from the economy. You'll be barred from getting a job, Social Security. You'll be barred from having a house, having a mortgage, Housing and Urban Development. You'll be barred from everything. They're going to use everything as a lever to put pressure on you. And you've heard many government leaders come out and say, we're doing all this to put pressure on people. All the pressure will come out for this Mark of the Beast system. And I don't even think we're there yet. And yet this pressure is coming out. So when this does come along, when the Antichrist comes along and you do not accept the mark, are they going to know who you are? Absolutely. All the countries in the world are not going to know, and the world government is going to know exactly who you are, where you are, and they're going to be tracking you, making sure you're not doing illicit transactions. So any bartering you're going to do, that's going to be illegal, and they're going to want to tax that, and they're going to come track you down. They're going to know where you live, unless you're single and you head for the hills and live in a cave. They're going to know where you are. So there will be real pressure on everybody to get the mark. Due to the Biden administration's choice of little-known pretrial services agency to implement the database, the Heritage Foundation called the system a test run for a nationwide database of all religious exemptions requests made by federal workers. They have a database, and you would be silly not to think they know exactly who you are, where you are, and when the time comes, they will be able to put significant pressure on you. The Biden administration must immediately dismantle the Orwellian database. He called the move alarming and said it had a chilling effect on a citizen's exercise of religion. Why? Why are they trying to chill a citizen's exercise of religion? Why do they want to make you scared to practice your religion and to do it faithfully? Well, because there is a time coming when this Antichrist will want you to worship him. He will not want you to worship anybody else. And so, anybody who has a religion or a faith, they want to make sure you don't have that religion or faith, so that when the time comes, you can put your whole faith in the new religion of the Antichrist and worship him. And that's what the mark of the beast is. It's not just the taking of the mark, but it's also the worship and recognizing him as the leader and the Messiah and this supernatural being that is great and wonderful above God. What does the Bible say about the Antichrist sitting on the throne in the third temple? He wants to present himself as God and indeed above the God of the Bible. And so this is what Satan wants. And this is what the mark of the beast is going to require. And so they're getting rid of religion now so that when the time comes, you can pledge allegiance, pledge your faith to the Antichrist figure. So, folks, this is coming down the pipe soon. Even you in the U.S., this is coming down hard on you as well. The U.S. and Canada aren't a lot different. Canada seems to be a bit more steady, and they just continue on down the line to a mark of the beast sort of setup and conditioning and system. And the U.S. is a bit more of a pendulum. It kind of swings back and forth to extremes, but they're certainly heading in that direction, especially with the Biden administration. So you're not going to be able to buy or sell when this thing comes into effect, you Christians. There may be a very, very tiny and maybe a short-lived period where you can do some minor, small bartering. But you won't be able to keep this consistent. The government will find you. You will have bills to pay, your taxes, etc. And if you don't, the police are going to come out looking for you. They're going to send all the debt collectors out for you, and they know where you live. And so, like I say, unless you want to live under a rock, you're not going to be able to escape this without any sort of incrimination or having to go to court to say why you aren't paying this or something. Well, the reason is you don't have the mark of the beast, and you don't have access to your bank accounts, and they will put you in jail for not paying your bills. There will be restrictions put upon you. Your life will be effectively destroyed. Be prepared, guys. This is coming down the pipe. And again, thank you for all your support. And a note on learning new skills. Please do. Just learn anything. Learn how to solder some copper pipes together. Learn how to solder some electronics. Do basic soldering, so that when an issue comes upon, comes into your house where you have to fix something, when the grid goes down, or when there's a worldwide internet shutdown and a bank holiday. Remember, for Cyber's Polycon, they said they may have to shut the internet down for a couple of days to remember to slow the spread of the computer virus. Doesn't that sound familiar? Well, at that point in time, you're going to have to know how to do everything yourself. Not only that, you're going to have the resources, the tools, and the resources, the copper, the wire, the solder, the crimping tools, whatever. You're going to have the tools and the raw resources to be able to do whatever you need in the last days. So it's a warning to you, and I would say get prepared, have some extra resources on hand, some extra 2x4s, some extra solder, some extra wiring, some extra batteries. Just have them ready to go should you need it, because the time when you need it is the time when you can't go out and buy it. And that's the real problem. And you look at the supply chain, resources are getting tight. Grocery store shelves are getting empty as we speak. And where is it in the public media? Where is it in the mainstream media? You don't hear of this. And so hard times are coming. Get your ducks in order now. It's still a time when you can relatively easily, although it's getting quite expensive, to get prepared and get shelves stocked up with some basic items. Thanks for watching, folks. Be prepared. We're moving quickly, I believe, to the Mark of the Beast system. So we'll see you in the next video.